where to start? Well, let's start with some context, I guess. So, when I was about 12 years old, I took a cardboard box and I spray painted it gray. And I tied 4 rubber bands to it at different tensions. And that was the first time that I tried to start a band. And then from that point on, I didn't see here. From that point, I moved to Minot and didn't get my first actual band going until I was about 15, let's say. And I'd always been writing songs and trying, and it always just made sense to me that there would be a place to go and play music. I mean, it was just obvious anywhere that, music's a pretty important thing in anybody's life, and there's always an outlet for it somewhere, I assumed. And so I finally got my first band going, and we played Main Street Books, and then that's where I met a good friend of mine, Billy Lutzen. And him and Jasmine Wolf and Chris Brown were talking about starting a venue called the Pangea House. And they did, and it was great. And the whole thing just, it was kind of, at first I took it for granted. And, I just kind of thought, well, of course this would be happening. Of course, this just makes sense. This happens anywhere. Any town bigger than Minot surely already has something like this, probably 10 times better. And then, so Pangea House probably went on for about a year, and then I went on my first tour with my band, Father, Son, and Holy Smokes. And it was a 30-day tour to the East Coast and back, and I think it was after that I realized just how lucky we were to have Pangea House, because really, it gets so much worse. And not that Pangea House is bad, but I mean just that being from Minot, well, first of all, just Pangea House being a venue in general, it's how to explain that? I want to say it's had a bigger and more broader support from its community than any place I've ever been. It's not just a punk rock spot. It's not, there's not a particular crowd that utilized it. It wasn't a space for anybody. It was a space for everybody. And the amount of, people come and people go, this is Minot, people leave, but just throughout its existence, I think that the support has seemed more sincere from the community than anywhere else I've ever been. What did that mean? Kind of rambling here, but Pangea House was the kind of place where anybody who shows up is encouraged to do something. If your passion's basket weaving, then we'd set up a show around that. Whereas in a bigger city, sure, you can have a bar or a house that you can go play at if you're already into punk rock. But other than that, well, yeah. Not to say that they don't have pretty sweet basket weaving classes in the big city. I'm sure they do mine out there as well. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that you can definitely, I think the difference between Pangea House and a lot of other spaces is the sincerity from the community and just towards the touring acts that come through. it's not an everyday thing to have a show or, you know, be able to create art with your neighbor. And so I think that it is more important out here. I think Pangea House has been, I think a lot more people have gone there to grow than just to go to shows or just to play a show. I think there's been a lot more growth there. And I think that's where that comes in. And that's all I have to say. So yeah. Screw you, Pangea House. 7 years? I'm just gonna walk away like that? Cool.